In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the Cloverdale Mall redevelopment project by QuadReal Property Group. We're going to be talking all things that are being proposed in the development plans, as well as talk about the newest project that's going to be launching in that site in partnership with Mattamy Homes. So make sure you stay tuned till the very end. Now, if this is your first time on this channel, my name is Sid Sir from Team Sir Real Estate. I talk about all things real estate, developments, pre-construction, so please go ahead and subscribe for all the newest and latest in Toronto and the GTA. Now, the Cloverdale Mall redevelopment project is a little bit near and dear to my heart. I grew up in Etobicoke, not far from the mall, and I used to go to this mall as a kid to mostly go to the barbershop, which I'm not exactly sure if it's still there, and occasionally go to the Service Ontario there, which wasn't exactly the most pleasant experience, as most people don't have the most pleasant experience at Service Ontario. Anyway, that's a whole separate video. But I went down there recently to check out exactly what's going on and took some cool drone shots. That's me right there flying the drone for you guys so I could get some cool shots. But I want to talk about exactly what's being reimagined here by QuadReal Property Group. Is it actually going to be somewhat decent and good for the community? We'll talk all about that in this video. Now, if you haven't heard of Cloverdale Mall or been there, which I don't exactly blame you, it's a very small mall in the middle of Etobicoke. Not much to do there, except they recently got a pretty cool pickleball court over there where the Target used to be. But outside of that, it's not one of the best malls in the city. There's Sherway Gardens, which is just 5 minutes from there, which is a lot nicer and a lot more renovated. The history of Cloverdale Mall is it was built in the 1950s as an open-air mall with around 34 stores, and it went through extensive renovations in the 70s and eventually became what it is today into this enclosed mall. And now this mall is being completely reimagined by QuadReal Property Group. QuadReal Property Group owns the site and the mall in it. So let's talk about the 32-acre site. Everything housed in here will be in separate blocks, approximately 9 in total. And most of these blocks will incorporate residences with retail, amenities, and other uses. The plan also calls for new roads and buildings as part of the redevelopment. So I personally think this site's going to be pretty decent, at least in what they're proposing. It's a 32-acre master plan site with over 3 acres of parks, over 5,800 plus residential units, over 9 acres of vibrant public realm, over 180,000 square feet of shopping, and over 23,000 square feet of community amenities. If you actually go to mycloverdale.com, which is the website for the development, they actually have a pretty cool interactive display there of the different phases that they're going to be doing. But I took the liberty of finding everything out for you guys so you don't have to do all of that. So let's look at the phasing plan. The site's actually going to be broken down into 4 phases that consist of the 9 blocks. So phase 1 is going to have blocks 1, 2, and 3, which is about half of the mall, which they're going to do in the phase 1 demo. Phase 2 is going to include block 4. Phase 3 will include blocks 5 and 6, which are going to be the parks and some of the residential buildings. And of course, then you've got phase 4, which it's going to have blocks 7, 8, and 9. And they're also proposing an interim retail space there for people to do shopping in the meantime while they're going through the demos. Now, of course, there's the triangle site here on the right-hand side, which is in the southeast corner, which is a separate development application by the city that's being developed by QuadReal in partnership with Mattamy Homes called the Clove, which I'm going to talk about at the end. Now, the mall site will actually feature 10 towers ranging from 17 to 48 stories, with podiums ranging from 7 to 8 stories and mid-rise buildings located around the proposed parks. Let's look at some of these renderings. I want to show you guys this really cool bird's eye view. And if you take a look at that, the first thing I notice is there's a lot of green space, which I think is very much needed in a place like that. Again, if you have been to Cloverdale Mall, you'll notice it's quite dull. There's really not a whole lot to do. And I think this would be good for the community because what they're proposing here, if I zoom in, this area right over here is what they're calling the South Park. And in the South Park, there's obviously a lot of greenery, a lot of trees, a lot of great landscaping, but it also looks like it's going to have what appears to be a basketball court and also what appears to be a tennis court. It's going to have some sort of water fountain there, which again is nice. It's a good place for people to come in and gather, for kids to go and play, families for something for them to do. If you look at the towers, they'll be placed along Highway 427 and Dundas Street, and they are going to be decreasing in size, going from south to north and west to east. Approximately 45% of the site area would be dedicated to the public realm, which will include parks, trails, public roads, and open spaces. Let's see some of the renderings here. This is a rendering of the Cloverdale Square, which is nice. It's an enclosed space with a glass enclosure at the top, which looks really nice. There's cafes, restaurants. Here's another one from a different angle. You've got another cafe there, bakery. Here's another one of the courtyard where you've got what looks to be a boardwalk and you've got some water fountain. Again, a lot of walk space, which I really like. And here's another shot of the walkways and the public areas where they've got restaurants and, again, more patio space. I'm getting a really urban village feel, which is what actually the QuadReal Property Group proposal plan is calling for. They want to give it this urban village feel, which I think is really very much needed in that area right now. Now, not only is this mall close to the major highways like the 427 and very close to the Gardner, but it's also close to the Kipling Transit Hub, which it has the GO station. It's got Kipling Subway. It's got the Up Express. It's got major buses that go all over Toronto and the West End. It's also very close to Sherway Gardens, which is another huge shopping area. So it's very closely connected to a lot of the major shopping areas and major transit hubs. And it's also going to be close to the Etobicoke or the new Etobicoke Civic Center that's going to be at Kipling and Bloor that's going to be coming out in the future in the next few years. So there's a lot happening in Etobicoke in that particular sort of site close by the redevelopment site here by QuadReal. Now, before the redevelopment begins by QuadReal Property Group, they're actually partnered with Mattamy Homes to develop their first site with 2 towers coming up called the Clove, and that's a separate development site, what they're calling the Triangle site again. This is a separate development application just in the southeast corner of the 32-acre site. Now, I'm going to be doing a whole video on the Clove, as well as all the details about the project, the pricing, what's around, what kind of unit sizes, floor plans, all of that good stuff. I'm going to be actually going to their site next week to do a exclusive broker preview. So I'm going to bring you guys all the details in the video in the next week or so. So please stay tuned and, of course, subscribe if you haven't already. But let's check out some renderings of those 2 towers. The towers are going to be 33 and 9-story mixed-use condominium buildings, both connected by a 4-story base building, totaling 606 residential units. Here's some really cool renderings that you guys can see here. The entrance canopy to the towers, they look pretty cool. I think it's a very nice-looking building. I'm curious to see what the floor plans are going to be like, but I already liked a lot of these terrace units on the north side of the tall tower, and I'm curious to see what these units are going to be selling for because they look really, really nice. Now, as far as current condos and resale properties in the area, when it comes to new-ish condos, you've got 30 Samuel Woodway, which is on Dundas Street, close to Kipling Station. Then you've got 2 and 6 Eva Road by Tridel. You've got Kipling Station condos that are going to be coming up in the next few years. That was being sold by Center Court about last year. That was selling about, I believe, $1,100 to $1,250 a square foot now. I feel that the Clove, they're being advertised as starting in the 400s, but that's a marketing strategy a lot of developers are using right now to attract buyers. But again, suite sizes in the 400s are going to be pretty small, probably in the high 300 square foot range. However, Mattamy is being pretty aggressive with some of their, not just pricing, but also their closing costs recently because pre-construction sales have been super slow. And they're giving out incentives like 0 development charges and no caps on levies and 0 development charges. So they're doing a lot to attract buyers right now. And I won't be surprised if they do the same thing for the Clove. But most of the resale inventory in the area right now, when it comes to new-ish buildings, about 5 to 6 years, they're selling for about $500,000 for 1-bedrooms. 1+ dens are closer to 6, and then 2 bedrooms are anywhere from mid 6s to high 7s, and so on and so forth. So I'd be curious to see what the Clove starts out as well as the future projects and towers that are going to be coming out in this development. But of course, all of that info, I'm going to keep updating you guys as I learn more about the development. I'm actually personally super excited for this. site and this redevelopment, because I think it's going to really enhance the community and have a lot more to offer to people that live not just immediately in the area, but also close by from Mississauga and further west in Etobicoke and even Toronto. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think of this development plan? And do you think they're actually going to pull off and make this really nice? What's the consensus out there? Because I know a lot of people seem to have a negative sentiment towards condos, although I deeply feel that we do need more housing. But again, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave them in the comments. If you guys found any value in this video, please go ahead and give it a like. And of course, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe for future videos of not just this project, but all developments that I talk about in the city of Toronto and the GTA and just the real estate landscape in general. Thank you all for watching. Take care.